When I tell y'all that the girls are fighting, they're fighting. After seeing this entire episode, it's so awkward to see Louis over here smiling at the beginning of the episode, right? Smiling at the table. Armand over here looking so annoying. Boy, don't look at me. I'm so disgusted with this whole messy situation after this episode. And he over here smiling. Okay, the truth is I'm not really that disgusted. I'm actually thoroughly entertained by this show. Let's go. Let's talk about it. So Louis starts talking, right, at this interview, talking about how he and Armand had the dynamic of their relationship perfectly figured out. And I'm just like, I don't know about I don't know about that. By the end of the episode, I'm like, I don't know about that. So Daniel clocks Louis here because Louis says, funny thing, trying to remember what occupied one's time when one was ignorant of the plotting around him. And first of all, the way that this line can be applied to a couple people at this table, like, y'all, please do not get me started. But about the line in question, Daniel says, this impersonal pronoun stuff, one's time, seems like you're circling something, getting close to something that you simultaneously want to distance yourself from. So, he clocked it, right? So this twink walks in thinking that he's hot shit when he's gonna just get eaten up. And I was like, wow, bro, like you're talking really big shit for someone who's about to be ribbons pretty soon. Like Armand about to tear you up. He about to tear you up. So Louis tells Daniel that Malik is lunch, of course, and we know that, and that Armand likes to hunt for it. Armand turned it into a game where Malik thinks that he can win crypto or money, some shit, if he outpaces or escapes Armand or makes it to a particular site. It's just, he's hunting him. Girl, that's the tea. But, we know that even though this guy thinks he's going to win something, he's absolutely only going to win a, very quick death. Louis is over here talking about Armand's methodology is never violent, I assure you. And it's like, Louis, no shade to you, Louis. But you the last one that to be giving out disclaimers or anything. Like, first of all, I don't believe you. Even if I did not see Armand, like, Louis, I don't believe you. The fact that you even saying this already means that he is violent. And then those flashes came in Daniel's head when Armand was holding Daniel in that Lil' Kim position. Girl, y'all know what I'm talking about. Daniel's legs were shaking. Do you hear what I'm saying? Ah! It just makes a lot of sense now that I've seen the episode all the times Daniel pauses, right? Or he's shaking. Honestly, he has a lot of bravery coming in there again to face them, even though, like he said, he didn't remember all of it. But still, like, it's still enough to keep him shaking, and he still is doing this interview, right? Okay, so then Daniel works up the courage and then just asks Louis how long Armand will be out chasing after that twink. Louis says about an hour or two tops. So Daniel eventually whips out the files, the Talamasca files, right? But before that, I love how when they're talking about the interview, Daniel asks if they hooked up. And then we cut to a younger Daniel who's eventually taking off his shirt, right, in front of Louis. And Louis is like, boy, what the hell are you doing? Boy, what the hell are you doing? By the way, I think the actor's name is Luke Brandon Field or something like that. He did such a good job as younger Daniel, like down to the mannerisms and the tone of voice, right, of the older one, like just a really good performance. And can we talk about how cute Louis was with his little fro? He's so cute. He was so cute. I'm sorry, but if he wanted me to, I'd be taking my shirt off too, just like that. I understand, Daniel. I understand, and Louis had some party favors too with all them drugs. I'm just like, yeah, of course Daniel thought he was about to be getting down. Like, I would definitely be thinking, and you met me at a bar, like, I'll be thinking I'm about to be getting down. But, of course, Louis clarifies. He's just like, yeah, usually with these guys, I would have just sexed you, ate you up, and then that would be it. But you offered something that was off the menu. That's what Louis said. Louis genuinely, obviously liked Daniel, like talking to him. Of course, Louis was using Daniel in his own way still, but I think there was a genuine, like, fondness there, right? This part here where Louis was like, well, I'm a vampire. To young Daniel, and Daniel was like, all right, girl, whatever you say, mama. And then Louis rolled up on him like, okay, now what? Daniel over here trembling. You got me tripping, all stumbling, all flipping, all fumbling, clumsy cause you met a hot vampire. Girl, he could not light that cigarette to save his life. Girl, be calm. Girl, be calm. No. So in present day or whatever, Daniel and Louis tried to go back and forth with each other, right? Louis was like, girl, at that moment you were shaking and nervous, couldn't even light your cigarette like I said. And Daniel was like, okay, but you were spilling your tea, you were spilling your guts, and I didn't even have to try, girl. Like you are one lonely bush queen. You are one lonely girl. You are one lonely girl. I was like, damn, you had to go there. But I mean, he is, girl. And then so Daniel finally gets to the point, he's just like, cut the crap. Like, y'all got me in here. You know what I mean? I'm an accessory to murder at this point. I want to know, like, what exactly happened between us. And Louis agrees and then asks him, what's the next thing that you remember? And then we cut to Louis going on and on about Lestat, girl. Oh, here we go, girl. Here come this stunt queen. Here come Louis ass. You know what I mean? I was thinking that Louis is talking like he thinks Lestat is going to hear this. Like, just the way that he was talking. So when Armand came in and said what he said at the end of the episode, when, you know, he was talking to him in the coffin, I was like, yup, there it is. Louis is literally talking like Lestat finna hear this. Louis talking about Lestat had a superficial charm, a flimsy gentleman's veneer. Lestat was trivial, sterile, maniacal, and blind. I thought it was hilarious. I mean, Jacob's delivery of this line when he said, he appeared frail and stupid to me. I don't know why, but it reminded me of when New York, Tiffany Pollard, whatever, said, she said that those shoes were to be worn by someone beautiful, but if that was the case, she should have put them back on the rack. Those were old maiden type of shoes. Like the way he said, he appeared to be frail and stupid to me. Then Louis goes on and says, guess what? And as much as Lestat said he loved music, he played that shit without an iota of feeling. And I was like, all right, girl, Louis, you are really trying it now, because if he was all this, you would not have been attracted to him in the first place, girl. Like you doing all this rah-rah, and still you over here bucking every time you hear a whisper of Lestat's voice in your head, girl. Like, you're not going to be playing with me like this. And but that's the thing about abusers, of course, is that some of them are very charming. They're very talented, you know, very good at what they do. Sweep you off your feet type shit. But I think the best way to deal with that is to acknowledge that that's a reality instead of pretending, Louis, like Lestat wasn't charming to you or all this stuff. It was just, Louis was clearly flailing, like Daniel had said. Young Daniel says, Lestat is all these things, girl, that you're telling me, you know, maniacal, blind, and just, you know, he playing music without an iota of feeling, and he's whack, trivial, like he's all these things. But at the same time, you fell for him, he lured you in, you figured him out, but by the end, you'd paid a biblical price. And this is where things start to go downhill, right? First, older Daniel calls himself a moron, and I love when it cuts to the young one getting his life over the fact that Louis extended his fangs. But I mean, that's fun, whatever. That's the least of the silly things that Daniel done said throughout this whole scene, right? Because we go on, as Louis is telling him about when he was about to end his own life because of Claudia and all that, Claudia, you know, walking away, whatever. Young Daniel was like, oh, are you kidding me? You wanted to end your life? What about life? Are you serious? Like, you really did that? You really tried to do that? He was like, humans have such shitty lives. You don't have to, you know, deal with anything that we dealing with. You don't get sick and die like we do. And you were just going to throw that all away. And then Louis did warn his ass, though. Louis was like, all right, bro. Like, you getting a little bit too spicy. It's getting a little too hot in the kitchen, babes. You need to calm that down. He said, you've overstepped now, boy. But Daniel's high ass just going to keep going and going and going. Girl, he talking about, I could be your Lestat, your Claudia, but better? I was like, oh yeah, Daniel, you talk about you as a moron, you definitely was, bro. Like, what are you talking about? I could be your Lestat, your Claudia, but better. He said, I got a little of both of them in me, plus a few things they don't. And then, I mean, they arguing. And Daniel talking about, you don't understand the meaning of your own story. And it's just like, well, that might be the case, but... Louis jumped across that apartment so quick. Do you hear what I'm saying to y'all? Louis jumped across that apartment, was on his ass. Older Daniel then admits that he messed up by telling someone who has ideations, right, to just kind of get over it, cheer up, Um, Louis then says he overreacted. Daniel, of course, agrees that Louis overreacted, but Daniel continues on reiterating that he was being idiotic too. Now, we go back to the past, right? And Armand comes in and rips Louis off of Daniel. Now this scene, when I say that these two talented actors, Assad and Jacob, were acting their asses. Do you hear what I'm saying? They were acting. I mean, I was clutching my pearls for this entire sequence. My heart was in my throat this entire sequence. Like, y'all really ate that up. And I heard somewhere that this was the first, or one of the first sequences that they filmed in all of season 2. And I'm just like, goodness gracious, y'all ate that up. This is a fight. And I knew it was going to be spicy when Louis looked at Armand, who was staring at him, and said, what? What? I was like, oh my God. And all this blood all over his hands. Louis high as hell. Armand was like, I'm home waiting. It's morning now. The room is soiled. Once again, I'm here with mop and mindlessness to clean it up. You make the mess and I clean it up. Louis' triannual fuck off and find me with apologies to follow. And oh my goodness, then Louis saying, I'm sorry here, right after Armand says you do bullshit and then follow it up with apologies. It's just like, oh my God. Louis was pushing them buttons. Do you hear what I'm saying? Armand said to him, revealing our nature to a reporter you met 10 hours ago in a bar? What if it was published? And I was like, oops, you're almost there, Armand. You're almost there, because the potential publishing is part of the point. Like, that's part of the reason why Louis was even entertaining this motherfucker in the first place. No shade to Daniel. You know, not, of course, discounting the fact that I do think he genuinely liked him, but there was also another motive in there too. Armand said, you were in urine passed out next to him on the floor. Then Louis hurdles right over that and says, you're boring, Armand. The 10 hours with Daniel is more exciting than the decades I spent with you. Suffocation by the world's softest, beigest pillow. And Louis taunts Armand again by saying, oh, you mad now? You mad? Which one will it be, the gremlin or the good nurse tonight? He said, are you gonna lick my boots or chop my hands off? Right? And watching this again, I'm like, yup, that's their dynamic right there. That's their dynamic right there. Armand came back with some heat though. He did. I'm not gonna lie. He was like, okay, but am I as boring as those boring ass tapes you did? Oh, it's so hard to be me. Everyone I know wrongs me. Louis talking about, Louis imitating Armand at this point. Louis says, I'm the vampire Armand, and my daddy vampire groomed me into a little bit. I was like, oh my gosh, they're really going there. They're really going there. Louis is really going there. Armand said in this fake New Orleans drawl and this New Orleans accent, like it was just so ridiculous. He said, my brother, he tossed himself off the roof. My sister, she buried me alive. My daughter was my sister, was my throw pillow when he wouldn't look at me kindly. Let's start. I was like, oh my God. No, man. Like, they were going. And it's like, you just wanted to stop at this point as a viewer. You're just like, oh my God, okay. Louis was like, I talked shit about Lestat the whole time though. What's the problem? Like, girl, please. No shade to Louis, because I really am so pissed at Armand. Like, by the end of this episode, I really want to beat up Armand, like, for real. But like, no shade to Louis, but who want to sit and listen to their current partner talk about their ex nonstop, even if it's to take a shit on them? Honestly, it's like, sometimes I think some people do that shit to like prove to the current partner that, oh yeah, see, I'm really with you. But like, if you constantly, I'm talking about nonstop. I'm not saying you never have to talk about your relationships ever. I think that's foolish too. Like your previous relationships. Like, I'm not saying never speak about it ever, but like, oh my goodness, every moment of the day, girl, it doesn't matter if you're making fun of them. It doesn't matter if you're shitting on them. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's still in my air. The name is still present. And then on top of that, Lestat ghosted Armand. It's just a lot. Armand said, I have been hearing Lestat's name nonstop for 23 years. He was like, you were throwing Claudia's name around in the tapes for cover, but we all know who you really wanted to talk about. Louis said, but I loved her. And Armand says, but she didn't love you. She says she did not love you like how Lestat did, or like how I do, like how I did. And Louis says, I know. And I'm like, oh, what's about to happen? What is about to happen? I was asking the right questions, girl, because like it seems like he literally hears Claudia's voice or something. Like he's convinced that Claudia's outside or something. And then he literally runs out the room, goes upstairs, goes outside, and runs outside into the sun. Do you hear what I'm saying? And that shit looks so painful. Like, he was getting Thanos snapped on the roof, girl. Like, you have got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. But Armand saved him really quick. And, you know, the point is that present day Louis is sitting over here with Daniel, and they're both like, Louis is remembering all this now because of what Daniel's, you know, telling him and playing for him. Louis is burnt. Do you hear what I'm saying? Like, it was terrible. Looking like a couple pieces of toast that you done forgot in the toast. You see what I'm saying? Like, it was terrible. Armand at this point is very much over it. Louis didn't even remember what he did. Louis didn't even remember what he did, the things that he said. Armand ain't trying to hear Louis' sorries or anything like that. Once Louis starts asking if Daniel's alive, that's when Armand starts using that telekinesis, giving very, very much Jean Grey, and was just knocking Daniel's body around, talking about, he's just fine. We're all fine. This is fine. Clearly, it's not. Clearly, it's not. So Daniel's basically getting tortured here, right? Armand's trying to figure out what's so special about him. You know, Daniel says that he can't feel his body. Louis is making too much noise from the bedroom. He's in pain, agonizing pain. He's begging Armand to leave Daniel alone, but Armand just shuts that door on up. Armand just shuts that door, sits down, but he forces Daniel to do the little Kim squat in front of him, like I said, or about to get into the Kim squat. Like, you got to be a little lower for that. And Armand says, I'm not sure there's much more to you other than a hole. And I'm just like, And of course he was referring to like the black hole, the nothingness, the depths of his soul or whatever. But like, imagine getting told by a gay vampire that there's really nothing more to you other, like a gay vampire, other than you're being a hole. I'm just a hole, sir. I honestly, if I was Daniel, I'd be like, well, I can be a hole for you right now if you let me get out of this position. Oh my God, his legs were trembling, cramping. Oh my goodness. So Daniel and Louis were sitting down together here, trying to remember what happened for real. Daniel says that Armand was in a trance back then, and we cut to Armand in this trance, and we hear him whisper, I'm with him now. I won't tell you where. So definitely to me, this is the first time that he contacted Lestat, because obviously it comes up in the end of the episode, right? Then Louis asks Armand to put him in a coffin, right? He said, it's like I'm still burning. I'm like, damn, all these hundreds of years and vampires living for how long? And y'all still ain't got no pain meds or nothing? Like, what's going on? I mean, is Armand just choosing not to help help Louis in this moment? Because it's like, what the point of the blood was to help. The point of him giving his blood in the coffin was to help him out, pain relief. Like, so like Armand was just choosing not to help, which makes sense. Like, I don't know. So he puts Louis in his coffin, like I said, and Armand says, hey girl, guess what? Don't mean to alarm you, but I did end up listening to the tapes. I listened to all of them actually, and I listened to them twice. And he said, all those embellishments about Lestat that you were making, it seems like you wanted Daniel to publish this somehow so Lestat could find it, could see it and find it, come looking for you. And I was just like, girl, remember I said in the beginning, I'm like, the way that Louis is talking is he was not even speaking honestly about Lestat or his feelings, how he interpreted Lestat, what he thought about Lestat. Like, he's literally saying this like to insult, as almost as if he expects Lestat to hear this at some point, right? And of course Armand put that together immediately, like immediately put it together. And he said, if you wanted insanity back, if you wanted escape from this prison of empathy I've locked you away in, all you had to do was ask. And I'm just like, listen, both Armand, all of y'all need a deliverance. That's what y'all need. All of y'all. So it's just ain't, yes, it's some empathy sometime, but when you switch, Armand, like, is it there anymore? Is it there anymore? So it's like, girl, get out of my face. I don't know. He said then to Louis, also, guess what? I know where Lestat is. I told him I was with you. I told him you were thinking of him again. And Louis like, no. He's waiting for you, is what Armand says. With their powers, Lestat is kind of like trying to speak through Armand, but he doesn't have control. He just can telepathically communicate with Armand. He can't control him or anything. So, right. So Armand can choose what he tells Louis, what, and that of course frustrates Lestat. Lestat is like, ask him what has got him injured, what's got him ill. And I'm just like, Lestat, what do you mean what got him injured? You injured his ass and would do it again. Do you remember that? It's all right. He gonna heal. Boy, move. It's just messy. Lestat is like, tell him I love him, Armand. Tell him. And Armand does not do that shit. Of course Armand ain't gonna do that shit. Because first of all, that's my nigga. Like, I ain't doing that. Like, sorry. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. I ain't just doing that shit. But also because Armand has definitely wanted to hear those words from Lestat himself. Remember in the past, I think he wanted to genuinely hear Lestat tell him those words, right? And he only got that lackluster ass shit at the theater before Lestat ghosted him. So the fact that Lestat is trying to tell, or the fact that Armand is hearing Lestat say, I love you, but it's not directed toward him. It's directed toward Louis, who's over here. You see what I'm saying? It's just a mess. It's just a mess. So Louis told Armand he was my maker, nothing more. And I'm just like, I want to believe you, Louis. I really do. Armand then says, you left me for death. Will I be on suicide watch for the next 1,000 years? And here we go. Have I atoned for my part in Paris? Have I crawled an inch forward? Or am I, this constant painful reminder of the worst of it? So this right here to me reveals a lot, right? Because to me, this shows that Armand was already feeling guilty and insecure about the relationship before Daniel was even in the picture, right? But the fact that Louis was like, oh, I loved spending hours with Daniel and it was better than decades with you. The whole fight, it was just, you know what I mean? It made him feel even more insecure. And now Armand is over here talking about, have I been forgiven? Am I gonna have to be on suicide watch? Like, have I paid for my part that I played in Paris? Like, it's just, you're really seeing the dynamics of their relationship, their abusive dynamic, like, open up. You're seeing it. And of course, Louis doesn't answer Armand's question. Armand clearly takes that as, Louis is still pissed, which, I mean, I'm guessing it involves the, deletion of Miss Claudia. So it's just, of course, he would still be angry. Armand said, I've been calling you for some time. He's speaking to Daniel now. He said, you've been longing for rest. I can give it to you. You know you want it. Essentially, he's like, hey, guess what? You're a failure. You're going to be a failure. Shitty life at your shitty job. Your drinking problem. You already know you're going to have kids that shy away from you. Your wife ain't going to want to be around you, girl. You already know what's going to happen. Just lay your ass down and rest. And then, it was given Santiago style, right? Like, Armand was killing him Santiago style or vampire style in general. And it was really about to happen, biting that neck. Wow, like the craziest hickey that you will ever get in your life. So Louis comes out of his room when like Armand's about to kill him, right? And he says, stop, I need this one to live as a testament to our companionship. Then Armand says, are you asking me, maître? And I'm just like, wait, huh? The wig turned around. But of course, like I said, the wig was turning around already when they were talking in the coffin, and Armand was feeling guilty and all that shit. Like when abusers start to feel guilty and fucked up and whatever, I know Louis was also like acting crazy in this too. Like Louis was in the like they both like you see what I'm saying, abused people who are now abusing, right? So when they start to feel guilty, when one starts to feel guilty over the other, or one feels bad, or one remembers the bullshit they put the other through, that's when the dynamic switches and the other gains like this power in this situation, right? And that's kind of the MO for a lot of abuse and abusers or whatever. Then Louis says no, like he's not asking. He uses his name. He says he's not asking. So like clearly the switch happens, right? Because remember at the beginning of the fight in the middle of the episode, Louis was almost like, well, to Armand, he was saying, well, which side of you am I going to get tonight? The one that licks my boot? The one that does what the fuck I say? The one who's ultra sub? Or the one who lashes out? The one who chops my hands off? The ones, you know what I mean? And so I think that coupled with the fact that after Armand got his lashes in with Louis, he felt guilt about that, felt guilt about Paris, right? And Louis indicated he wasn't over it when they were talking in the coffin. I mean, Armand was talking about atonement. So to me, that's when, like I said before, the dynamics, the abuser dynamics switch with them. And it was so eerie to see because, like, after you saw Armand, like, spend all this time, well, Louis, messed up. Armand spent all the time dragging the shit out of his ass and also Daniel. Then, like, seeing that all that time and then to see how quickly Armand switches to, like, okay, yes, sir, no, sir. Like, I was just like, whoa. So we get to the kicker, right? Because Daniel looks at Louis and says, hey, like in present day, and says, hey, guess what? Like, Armand fogged my brain, which accounts for why I didn't remember. And so what accounts for why you didn't remember, Louis? You remembered right up until you bit me, and I remembered right up until you bit me. And then both of our memories cut out. He said it's the same precise edit on two brains. And Louis looking like he don't want to accept it, but like it's too much evidence. Like his face is just like, it's way too much evidence for me to even be trying to play. Like this is, like Daniel has a point. Daniel's right. And speak of the devil, this man came in looking like the queeniest butch queen ever. Girl, these fucking, I need them shades so quick, girl. He looked like he about to dodge bullets like Neo, ho. This bitch came in here looking like a homosexual, and that's exactly what I like to see. Bitch, that bitch looks good. Give me them shades. But Louis confronts Armand. But he's clearly lying. Like, Armand is lying. And, we all know that. And Louis knows that. Daniel knows that. Louis looks mad as hell. Like, this is how he started the episode. This is how he ended it. Like, girl, wow, Daniel and Louis, who came into this going at each other's necks, right? Kinda, are now standing on the same side. Because they both got their memory sliced and diced up, girl. Like, I need to figure out what's going on. Can somebody open up my CPU unit in this brain? Can somebody open up this hard drive and figure out what's going on? Somebody tap my motherboard like it's given, welcome to cyber chains. Like, you need to dig inside this brain, this gray matter, and figure out what's going on. Girl, it's gonna be a mess. I cannot even fathom what we're about to learn about Armand and what happened and what he did, what he's lying about, everything that he's lying about. And of course, all of that information will be coupled, with us getting closer to the big fire that happened at the theater. But yeah, y'all, this episode was crazy. It was crazy. But it's so interesting because other shows, they'll pause what we're doing because we're in Paris, right? We're in Paris. They'll pause what we're doing and give us a one-off episode. And we're like, damn, I wish we were still on the main storyline. But this episode was so good. We're just like, no, like it unpacked so much stuff. It revealed so much stuff. I just really cannot stop thinking about the fact that Daniel Malloy is just like really going back up in here with these vampires who clearly fucked him up, interviewing him. And like his attitude from the beginning becomes even more understandable. Daniel's like snarky, sarcastic attitude is like, y'all already fucked me up one time. Like, I mean, I'm here. Y'all gonna do it again or not? Like, so I'm just gonna run my mouth. You see what I'm saying? Just beautiful writing, beautiful acting. Like, y'all really are doing it. I don't know what's going on. Am I missing the AMC's promotion of this? Because I feel like AMC need to do a little better job. The acting is way too good. Like, for a lot of the episode, it was just conversations. People just having a conversation, interviews. But it was just so well done. The dialogue is so... You see what I'm saying? The fights, it's just so well done that you are glued to your fucking screen. You're sitting down. You cannot help but be like, girl, you know, where's the next episode? Where's the next episode? It was great. It was amazing. Let me know what y'all thought of this. And let me know how much y'all want Armand's head in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Love y'all so much. And I'll catch y'all later. Peace. All right, y'all, make sure that you're going to www.zeraxia.com. When you join the wait list there on the site, you will be the first to be notified when I drop my sequel. Also, you'll immediately get chapter 1 of my upcoming sequel of the upcoming book sent to your email as a PDF. So check that out. Also, this is a different excerpt from my upcoming book, so you definitely want to pause to read if you're trying to get your life. Keep in mind that this upcoming book, this sequel, is following up the first book that is already released called Zeraxia, Wrath of the God King. I released it a few years ago. It was my introduction to writing fantasy and stuff, so just go easy on me. But either way, as you can see here, it's given 4.9 stars. It's given 4.9 stars. So yeah, check out Zeraxia, Wrath of the God King while you wait for Zeraxia, The Vengeance of Coldwind, right? And go to Zeraxia.com, sign up, join the wait list, get your free chapter. Thank you so much.